Hello! How's everyone doing today? I am Matt Williamson. This podcast is brought to you by FanDuel. I am at Williamson NFL, and I'm getting pretty psyched up for this game. As we were always going to do on Fridays, I just want to go over some real keys here on each side of the ball. First off, let's start with the Steeler offense. Well, let's just quick summary on the Seahawks. I really like their defense. Defensive-minded head coach. A lot of not household names that are excellent football players that are being deployed really, really well. They're deep. They do have some secondary injuries in their secondary that I don't know the answer to when I'm recording this. Enuware and Witherspoon, both of whom would be big losses. But overall, their defense is one of the best in the league. I feel very firm about that. Offense for Seattle is total opposite. Huge work in progress. Geno's gone. Metcalf's gone. Lockett's gone. Offense coordinator's gone. O-line changes. Fant is gone. I mean, everything's different, and they're not very talented on that side of the ball. So, Steelers offense. One of my keys. You got to get some kind of running game going. Now, I know these guys are good up front, and they're deep up front. And yes, running games can take a while to get going through the course of the year because you really haven't done true running game stuff. You know, I mean, real 60 plays of running the football over and over and over. But what we saw in New York was just unacceptable. I mean, you have to get some semblance of a running game going. It can't just be short passing at the line of scrimmage to substitute for a run game. Has to get some sort of running game going. I don't expect it to be great, but it has to be better. Can you get to 4 yards a carry in this game? I mean, I'm not asking for much. Now, I'm really interested to see how Seattle handles their former player, now Steeler, DK Metcalf. Such a different style secondary than the Jets. I think we talked about this early in the week, but Sauce was on DK, and if the rarity that he wasn't, Rodgers threw to DK. But when Sauce was on him, there were so many other places to go. Why go after the star corner? This secondary, I think they're really solid across the board. Now, Reek Woolen had a rough week one, and he wasn't as good last year as he was his rookie year, but he's really tall, talented, fast. I would think just the way they look and move, you would want Woolen on Metcalf. But they have a lot of options. Witherspoon, as I mentioned, is their best defensive back. He's a really, really good player. When they have two corners on the field, he's outside, and then he moves to the slot where he's best. And he is a do-it-all, big-time player. And if he was out of the mix, great. But he's smaller. I don't think you want Witherspoon on Metcalf. Plus, Metcalf's not going to be in the slot much. But when there's two corners on the field, I'm sure they would tangle. Job is the other corner, not a household name, really good player. I thought he was excellent against the Niners. Now, I think you have to contain what I think is a great Seattle pass rush. They are physical at the line of scrimmage. They are deep at the line of scrimmage. Leonard Williams is a lot like Cam Hayward late in his career. Really has rejuvenated himself in Seattle. Murphy, the first-round pick from a year ago, is a big-time breakout candidate. Edge guys that people don't know. Derek Hall is one of my favorites. Boye Mafe. And they also have Lawrence, who's a big, tough run setter from the Cowboys. You got to contain this pass rush because you can't just live on Rodgers getting out quick, making up for poor protection. That's a tough way to live. And I really am impressed with Rodgers, but he's not going to shrug off pass rushers. He's not going to elude, pass rush guys at this point. I think that much we know. Now, to Rodgers' credit, he really embraced play action in his first game with the Steelers. That was never his style before. Was not a big play action dude. Did not want to turn his back to the defense or take that extra second. But the Steelers' numbers when using play action in Rodgers' first game here were really, really good. So I think you need to keep up with that. And a running game would help, but it's not essential. Trust me. The yards after catch stuff is another trend I think you need to keep up. Now, I'd like to see the Steelers take more deep shots, particularly to Metcalf or Austin. But a lot of the stuff they generated, big play-wise, everything really, was yards after catch. And Metcalf is really impressive now with the ball in his hands. And yards after catch is a quarterback stat. I mean, that's Rodgers getting the ball out on time and getting guys in space to make plays where it needs to be. I also think something I haven't heard many people talk about this week is Seattle's head coach. This is his second game in his second year. First off, they only lost one game on the road, by the way, Seattle, in his first year as head coach. But he was Baltimore's defensive coordinator. I mean, that's why he got hired, because the Ravens' D was so good. Well, he's going to be very familiar with what the Steelers do overall. I mean, he's going to understand Tomlin through Harbaugh. There's a familiarity despite them being a bazillion miles away and in a different conference and not a team you see a lot. So I do think that's interesting. I mean, I think he's exceptional and he's very familiar to the Steelers, I guess, as well, but I think that works more to his advantage. Football season is finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials, so you can join in on all the action.
Hey guys, if you're planning to see a Steelers game, use the Game Time app to get your tickets. You can snag new ticket deals before anyone if you set it into your app alerts. The app is easy to use. No surprise fees at checkout. You can see your seat view before buying, and you're getting legit tickets delivered on time. If you're not much of a planner, you can get last-minute deals on tickets right up to the start of the event. Lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app and enter the code DK Steelers into your app profile to get $20 off your first purchase.
Other side of the ball, Steeler D. This is bonkers to me. This side of the ball for Seattle really struggled, except for Jackson Smith-Njigba, who I really, really like as a player. But when the ball came out of Darnold's hands, just under 60% of the time, 60, it's 59, went to JSN. He was the entire offense and certainly the entire passing game. I think Cooper Kupp is pretty shot. Cooper Kupp is now a slot-only player, which makes him a little redundant with Smith-Njigba, who now has to go outside more because Kupp can't. But he still did fine outside. So is Ramsey going to be following Smith-Njigba around? Sounds like Porter is unlikely to play. I would lean that way, and maybe Eccles takes Kupp whenever Kupp's in the slot and JSN's outside. I think I want Ramsey on JSN as much as I absolutely possibly can, because based off last week, and this is all, it's one sample size, etc., he's like the only thing that can beat you in the passing game right now. And it's not like their run game was much better, to be honest with you. I mean, Seattle held the ball for only 22 minutes last week. It was a struggle, and their O-line is a problem. Now, I like what Sam Darnold's done since rejuvenating his career in Minnesota. And I think that year with San Francisco and Shanahan did him a lot of good. Take a step back. And I think he's a good player. But he's a really good deep passer. He's talented. You can see why he went top 5. And he's definitely done a lot better job of not doing things to hurt the team. Not trying to be Superman. Realizes, hey, I'm not the best player on the field. This is not high school. This is not USC where I'm the top, biggest dog in town. But one thing that is very true with him still is all quarterbacks, as you can imagine, when pressured, aren't as good as a clean pocket, of course. But his gap is much wider than most. So you're going to have to pressure him to cause issues. Not that he's necessarily going to carve you up if you don't, but he's definitely at his worst when under a lot of pressure. And their O-line, especially center, right guard, right tackle, TJ Watt, is very suspect. I like Cross, the left tackle. I assume they'll leave him isolated on Highsmith a lot. Their first-round pick, Zabel, is the left guard. I think he's got a really bright future, but that's about it. The tight ends, I'm sure, will help. The running backs are okay in protection, but you got to pressure and make Darnold uncomfortable. Speaking of Watt, he has not had a sack in 5 games in a row now, including the playoff game. Longest streak of his career. But if you watch the Niners play Seattle last week, Nick Bosa, utterly dominated. And I expect Watt to do the same. Now I think Herbig's probably going to play. I think you got 3 legit edge rushers that you could keep rotating in and out. And Seattle wants to run the ball more than throw it. And again, they'll probably leave Cross alone at left tackle. But I think those edge guys should be able to win a lot. And it's a lot more traditional drop back passing game as opposed to the Jets. And I would be shocked if Watt does not have a big day. So I'm expecting that. And in the end, I know this is a hard leg to stand on, but I still think that the Steelers' defensive line and defensive front is way better than the rebuilding Seahawks O-line, including the run game, which again is problematic. Benton, Loudermilk, those 2 in particular, but really all the D linemen were going backwards and very far backwards. Much too much against the Jets, who I think have a much better O-line than probably give them credit for. They should be really excited about their O-line. Seattle, 2/5 of their O-line is promising, but that can't be the case. You have to be the much more dominant unit. Like, I don't expect necessarily the Steelers O-line to rebound great against a really good Seattle front, but I'll be really critical if the Steelers front doesn't dominate this group. You also have a special teams advantage. That's kind of the usual, but oh well, you know. Last week I picked the Steelers to win the game 17-16. I guess I was right. The Steelers won a close game, but that's not at all how that game went in Jersey. I'm going to pick the same score because I think this is going to be a grind. I'm just trying to be cute with the same score. Who cares? But I really think both these defenses are noticeably better than both offenses. I do expect Rodgers to make plays more so than Darnold. And I like the Steelers' pass catchers noticeably more. I like the Steelers' O-line noticeably more. But I'm not expecting the Steelers' running game to all of a sudden be an uplifting factor. I hope it is, but I don't have that expectation. And I think it's going to be a really tight game. I think playing at home helps, even as good as Seattle has been on the road lately. And I got Steelers 17, Seattle 16, and hey, you'll take it. All right, everyone, over now.